This is Watercolor Cityscape step number 3. Before we begin cityscape painting, make sure to decide on your favorite city. Here you can see New York, New York, Barcelona, Spain, and Paris, France. Decide on the city, but this video demonstrates Austin, Texas. So if you like to paint Austin, Texas, just follow along and you should be good. But if you have a favorite city that you like to draw, you need to research ahead and start sketching out the iconic buildings first. Before we get into the painting your watercolor scape, you will need to sketch out your city first. Using a ruler, lightly mark a horizon line with your pencil a bit less than halfway down the paper. I'm using 6 inches by 9 inches piece of mixed watercolor paper for your reference. Use this line as a base for your buildings in your sky. Sketch in as many iconic buildings. I like to sketch in least iconic buildings first, reserving more iconic landmark buildings for middle and foreground layers later. This next step seems a little counterintuitive, but it's necessary. Once you have drawn your city sky, you will need to erase it. Not all of it. We want to lighten the lines so that they don't show through the paint once your painting is complete. So take your big white eraser and erase it to the point where you can still see it, but it wouldn't bother you with your painting. Now onto the painting, we will be using wet on wet technique to help blend the colors in the cityscape. This means that we will prime the paper with a bit of water before putting the paint down. So use a clean water, paint inside the building, making sure to stay well within the lines of your sketch. I usually like to give at least 1/4 of an inch away from the lines to ensure a clean edges. You will notice the water takes away the paint and spread. This is what helps watercolor blend so wonderfully. You will keep repeating this method as you work across the cityscape. Now onto the detail works. Using a small pointy roundhead brush, clean up the sharp edges of the building. I'm using slightly darker colors to create contrast along the edges to create more distinctive lines where sky and the buildings meet. Take your time and let the water just spread the paint along the bottom of the building. You can also tilt your paper about 30 degrees to achieve a gradiated wash, being careful that the colors doesn't drip down where you don't want it to be. You can also add more paint or waters around it and just let the water spread the paint for you instead of forcing the edges. Now I'm using large paintbrush to add more variety of colors. Be generous with the amount of water and tilt your paintings around. I like to tilt it around in circular motion, letting the pigment flow naturally, filling in the negative spaces. Cover the whole bottom section with more water to achieve natural gradient.